Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dig In with Dad. And today we are very cognizant of the fact that it's kind of becoming fall now. We're headed into that season and everyone is back to school. We got lots of activities going on, and that doesn't mean that you get any less busy. So one of the things that can help with that is actually prepping a little bit, right? Meal prep, if you will. Making big batches of things ahead of time kind of save you a little bit of time down the road. So we're going to get into that. And what we're going to make today is French onion beef sliders. Okay, these things are great to portion out for yourselves, have them for lunch, dinner, whatever the next day. You can have them at large gatherings, right? Whether they're potlucks or tailgates or something like that. Or if you just really want to sit down and eat them all by yourself, you can certainly do that too. So our first step actually, oh wait a second, before we get into that, you know, one of our viewers, Mayflower Mary, she actually sent us these mugs, so I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you, Mary. Our first step will be back on the stove. We're actually going to start by caramelizing some onions, so let's get into it. Okay, so we're back over here at the stove. We're going to start with a pretty deep-sided frying pan because we're going to need the space. So let's turn this on to start somewhere around medium. All right, and then let's get maybe a couple tablespoons of butter in there. Just let this get a little melted around a little bit, and then we'll throw in our onions. And what we're using today is I got a couple of big Vidalia onions, or sweet onions. I find that the taste is, well, just a little sweeter. And I just chopped them up kind of into rings, right? They don't need to be anything fancy, but there is a whole bunch of them. All right, so once this butter gets melted, we're going to put our onions in, and then we're going to cook them on low, like medium-low heat for about 20 minutes or so until they get nice and caramelized. They're going to get a lot darker in color, and they're going to actually get pretty sticky in the pan. But low and slow is the name of the game. You go too high, you're going to burn them, and that's gross. So you don't want that. So nice and low. All right, so we're just going to keep slowly moving these around, stirring, getting everybody together for the next 20 or so minutes, and we'll come back and we'll see how it looks, okay? See you then. Okay, so we're back after about 25 minutes or so, and you can see the color on these has really darkened. So we just kind of kept moving these around, decently low heat, and this is what you get after time. Next step. We're going to add in some ground beef and a little bit more flavor. So let's start with our beef. All right, after our beef is in, we're going to add some of the sauce that at least I can never say. Worcestershire, worst of the Shire sauce. You know, maybe a couple squirts, something like that. And then we're going to add like a beef concentrate, right? Better than bouillon, something like that. And then we'll do a little glug glug. That's good. And then we're just going to turn up our heat just a touch, maybe like a medium high, and we're going to brown off our beef with the onions. So let's get that done and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back and we finished off browning off our beef here with the onions. And this is what you get, right? So I'm just going to drain off a touch of that grease. I don't want it to be completely dry, but in the same breath, we also don't want our slider buns to be all soggy with all the grease here that's in the bottom. So we're going to drain off a little bit of that grease, and then we're going to head back over to the counter and we'll assemble the rest of our meal. See you back there. Okay, so now we're back from the stove here. We've got our beef and our onion mixture, and we're going to start to build everything together here. So we're going to start with just a plain cookie sheet. And we went out and bought dinner rolls, right? These were what was on sale. You can use regular dinner rolls, you can use slider buns, you can use whatever you can find, really. What we're looking for is 2 packs that'll pretty much fill a cookie sheet, or close enough. So let's get these out, and we're going to cut them sideways so that we can pull the tops off. Okay, so we've got our buns cut in half. Now let's add our beef mixture on and just cover the entire thing, right? We have essentially two bottom sections of buns. Should have a fair amount of real estate, but let's see what we get. And the bonus part about using the cookie sheet here is if or when you spill some of the mixture off the side of the buns, it's okay, right? Not the end of the world. Okay, we just had the oven beep behind us. We preheated to 350 while we did this. So we've got our beef and our onions on here, evened out as best as we can. Next step is cheese. And here's the part where I guess we'll call step 2, right? We're doing a budget-friendly version, right? If we wanted to be super fancy and do this, we wouldn't be using ground beef, right? Maybe we would use steak slices or something like that. French onion soup mix, traditionally you're using something like a Gruyere cheese, which if you've been to the grocery store and look to buy Gruyere cheese, it's expensive. So use whatever cheese you can find, right? We're using this cheese because it was on sale. It'll be fine. So what we're gonna do is you can buy pre-shredded, you can shred your own, I don't care. Cover it, right? And you cover it with as much cheese or as little cheese as you want, but let's go ahead and add our layer of cheese. Okay, you'd think that I planned that, but one bag actually, that's pretty much perfect. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but toot toot. Next step is we're gonna add our tops of our buns back on, and we're almost there, I promise you. Right? Pretty simple. Everybody's doing okay, good. Now, before we pop it into the oven, I got just a small dish here, a few tablespoons of butter, another couple squirts of your beef concentrate or your better than bouillon, whatever you're using, and then another squirt or so of Worcestershire sauce. Okay, so let's microwave this up so that we can have melted butter that's flavored. Okay, once we've got our butter melted with our seasonings in there, we're going to need a ridiculously large brush. I got one. So we'll use this, and we're just gonna paint our melted butter on top of these buns. So just something like this, right? Arts and crafts time. Yeah, arts and crafts into Flavor Town. Right, and you don't have to use all of the melted butter. You can, but I'm not. All right, last step before we go in the oven, we're gonna give it a little bit more flavor just on top of these buns. So, garlic powder, mega size, yes. So, do a little dusting over the whole thing. Lovely. A little thyme. Now, in this case, we have time, but if we are asking, was it Jesse Spano? There's never any time. We got time. Wonderful. One more. This is where we get a little fancy, you know. Sesame seeds. That's about as fancy as we're gonna get with this one. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Wonderful. And now we'll just grab our oven mitts, throw this in the oven because I'm wearing my public service announcement shirt today. Oven mitts, because safety third. But what's number 1 and number 2, you might ask? Well, looking good and having fun. And that's what we're all about here, digging with Dad. So, throw this in for about 20 minutes until everything gets nice and golden brown and toasted, and you're set to go. All right, we'll see you in 20 minutes. All right, guys, it's been 20 minutes. Let's see what we got in the oven. Oh, and remember, oven mitts, right? Because safety's third. And what's number 1 and 2?
Looking good and having fun.
Oh, yeah. Wish you guys could smell this. They smell amazing. All you gotta do, chop them up, and whether you're gonna then portion them out for your different meals or hand them out to a crowd or just sit down like this too, that's cool as well. Anyway, they look great. Thanks for watching. Enjoy. What we're aiming for here is roughly 2 packs that'll pretty much fill a cookie sheet. We're gonna show. Thanks, Marie. Wonderful. That's it. And then we'll just...
If you had said, like, what's 1 and 2? We were going to yell it from off camera. Oh my god,